And my training all the time is that it belongs to the Lord. I am using. I have been given a nice opportunity. And when the time of separation comes also, my thinking is that everyone belongs to the Lord, and therefore Lord has to take care of everyone. Our worry is, if we go away, what will happen to them? They will be stranded and they will be in trouble. Our scriptures point out, in fact, if they are in good condition, not because of you, it is in spite of you. And therefore, when we are off, situations will be generally better only. Therefore, if you have any such feeling, hand over everything to the Lord, yogakshemam vahamyaham, then your mind will not dwell here. This all requires lot of practice. And therefore, Krishna says here, yaha mam nityam smarati. Suppose a person remembers me all the time, and remember, God represents the totality only. Personal God is only for convenience. But what personal God represents is the totality. Everything belongs to the macro. This is the awareness. Therefore, yaha mam smarati, the one who remembers this fact that there is no individual separate from the total. There is no wave separate from ocean. If wave claims I have a separate existence, it is ignorance on the part of the wave. An enlightened wave never claims individuality. It knows that there is nothing separate from ocean. With this awareness, yaha mam nityashaha smarati regularly reminds this fact. That's why I repeatedly tell this example. A wave is always permanently related to the ocean. A wave is fundamentally related to the ocean alone because it rises from the ocean, it exists in the ocean, and it resolves into the ocean. And not only in this birth, if the wave takes a punarjanma, again it is born out of what? The ocean. And therefore, waves' permanent relationship is with the ocean alone. The relationship between any two waves is only temporary. Between one wave and the other wave, the relationship is incidental and temporary. In my preoccupation with incidental relationship, I should not lose sight of the fundamental. The fundamental relationship makes me a bhakta. Incidental relationships make me husband, wife, father, mother, brother, sister, in-laws, outlaws, in-laws, etc. So all the roles that you play are incidental, and you have to play those roles. Nobody says you should deny them, but remember that the fundamental is with the Lord, the one who remembers. How? Ananya cheta. Without being distracted by, without being sidetracked by the incidental roles that he plays, the one who remembers in the background, like what? Tambura Shruti. Just as a musician does not lose sight of tambura shruti. The moment the tambura shruti is lost sight of, apashruti come. Then the music will not be music. Not only you cannot enjoy the music, for others also it will be terrible. And therefore, ananya chetaha, in the background, the one who remembers, tasya, for such a nishkama upasaka, he partha aham sulabha. I am the easiest person to remember. Just as a person who is attached to money always remembers money, whatever he does. Similarly, if I know the value, a remembrance is easier. Your mind remembers what you value most in your life. And nitya yuktasya yoginaha, it is easy for that upasaka who is nitya yuktaha, who is ever integrated, ever balanced, ever clear about his priorities in life, and yoginaha, and who is a seeker. So here yogi means upasakaha yogi. Continuing, mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam shashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramangataha. With the previous verse, Krishna concludes his answer to the 7th question of Arjuna regarding Antakala Ishvara Smarana. Now in the following verses, he wants to deal with some important topics connected with this discussion. From this verse, that is the 15th up to 22nd verse, Krishna wants to talk about two types of human goals. Two types of possible human goals. One human goal he calls God, and the other human goal he calls world. God and world. You can understand them as the infinite and finite, the spiritual and the material. And he wants to point out that for an intelligent person, God alone becomes the primary goal. For only the indiscriminate ones, everything other than God becomes the goal. And why we say God is the right goal to be chosen? He wants to give the reason. I have discussed this before also. With regard to all finite goals or accomplishments, there are three defects or allied problems. Like the thorn going along with the rose. They are all wonderful goals, all right, but they have traps also. What are the threefold doshas? Do you remember? The first dosha is dukkha mishritatvam. They have got pleasure in them, but equally they are mixed with pain also. The pain in the form of acquisition The pain in the form of preservation and the pain in the form of ultimate loss. If acquisition gives me pain, preservation is more pain, and the loss is the greatest pain. This is dosha number 1. And the second dosha with regard to all finite goals is, being finite, they will never give total satisfaction. Because always you know there is something bigger than that. So if I have got 100 rupees, I always miss 1,000. If I have got 1,000, I always miss 10,000. Any amount I get, there is no satisfaction at all. Na vittena tarpaniyaha manushyaha. 9-year-old boy Nachiketas tells in Kathopanishad. Therefore, what is the second problem? Any amount of money I have, I will look upon myself as middle class only. Swamiji, we are all middle class people. Only 5 bungalows and 6 cars are there. And if you go on insisting, maximum he will say upper middle class. Upper Sundarar Arena Chechpara. Even though the whole world says they are rich people, he doesn't feel, because he has got who in his mind, Bill Gates. Triptiye kadayadu. So therefore, atripti karatvam is the second problem. That is why match fixing. Nyabam vechungo. Match fixing. And then the third and final one is bandhakatvam. Once I learn to depend on external factors, I only become weaker and weaker. I become enslaved by that. This is the third dosha. Krishna indicates all these defects with regard to any goal other than God. And Krishna says, God alone represents Purnatvam, independent. Because when you choose God as your goal, ultimately you are going to discover God not outside. We introduce God as an outside entity, but ultimately, when you choose God as your goal, we are going to introduce God as what? Tat Tvam Asi. Therefore, ultimately, God dependent is going to become self-dependent, because God is not going to be away from me. Therefore, God represents Tripti. God represents security, God represents fulfillment, and therefore choosing God is the wisest choice. Krishna wants to declare in these verses. Now, comparison between two goals, God and world. He says, Mam upetya. If a person attains me, the Lord, then what is the advantage? Mahatmanaha, those great people, those successful people who have made a wise choice in their life, such Mahatmas, punarjanma na apnuvanti. They never come to finitude again. They never come to mortality again. They don't have ups and downs in life. In the case of any other accomplishment, I am on the top of the world like the cricketer. So he is going through a bad patch. Bad patch na nartha rendamatha ball la out nartha. So for some time he is in good form, the whole world praised, so many man of the matches, and he is on the top. Then thereafterwards again come down. Just like a floating log, up and down happens with regard to other goals. Here punarjanma. Here punarjanma means finitude. Na apnuvanti. These people do not come to. And what does finitude represent? Dukkhalayam, which is only a source, a temple of sorrow. We have heard temple of Shiva, Rama, Krishna, etc. Krishna coins a new word, Dukkhalayam. Why this word Alaya he uses? In Rama Alaya, Rama is permanently prana pradishta. Pradishta panni vechirukka. He is not a temporary yathasthanam kadayad. Permanent ange irukke. In Shivalaya, Shiva is permanently there. And in the finite world of samsara, the only permanent thing is what? Na? Dukkhalayam. It is only a source of dissatisfaction. And ashashvatam, which is fleeting, which is impermanent. And such a finitude, otherwise called samsara, mahatmanaha na apnuvanti. These intelligent people do not come to that. Then what will happen to them? Paramam samsiddhim gataha. They have accomplished the highest goal of purnatvam. They have accomplished moksha. Continuing. Abrahma bhuvanalokaha punaravartinorjuna mamupetyatu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. What about heaven? Because we have heard about heaven, anything that is wonderful, we say it is heavenly. What about heaven? A question comes. In some religions, they define heaven as eternal heaven. Here Krishna clearly declares there is no such thing called eternal heaven. Heaven also comes under finite goal only. And in our scriptures, we have got 6 heavens: Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka, and Satyaloka. 6 levels of heavens, and in each higher level, the pleasures are higher, security is better, it is finer and finer. And the highest is Brahmaloka. And Krishna says, even that Brahmaloka cannot guarantee total security. Brahmaloka also comes under finite goal only, which means you can go there, enjoy, and then you have to return back. Return back to Madras or still worse. And therefore he says, He Arjuna, lokaha punaravartinaha. All the 14 lokas exist within time and space. There is only one thing which is beyond time and space, which is Ishvaraha, otherwise called Brahman in Vedantic language. He will talk about that later. There is only one thing which is unlocated, whereas the other lokas are within time and space. That is why you have to travel to reach them. So the very fact that you have to travel indicates it is not available here. And what about Brahma Loka? It says Brahma Bhuvanat. Up to Brahma Loka, even Brahmaji is not permanent. Even Brahmaji, the creator